5 things I did to go from $150,000 in debt to a 7-figure business.
Hi, I'm your host, Caitlin Shanuda, and this is Foot Traffic Framework.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm a local business marketing coach, and today we're going deep into the archives to talk about how I got here, because no business is built in a day. First thing I did to go from $150,000 in debt to 7 figures in income was to cut out unrealistic expectations. Success is built and measured, by the way, one calculated step at a time. It's great to have goals, even big ones, but if we're focused on hope and dreams versus what we need to do to get there, this is a major reason a lot of business owners fail. Don't misunderstand me here, okay? I actually have huge goals for my life, my business, my family, and my future. I am not thinking small here, but I have realized that in order to get there, the most important thing I can possibly do is focus on the one single step I need to take next so that I can keep moving in the right direction. The number one way to fall out of love with what you're doing and ultimately fail is to hold ourselves to unrealistic expectations based on, mass marketing or like those, they're all over social media, right? Like those business porn case studies, like where they show you 100 times return on investment, but like they leave out all of the struggle and the ad money that they're spending on top of their funnel. Like, don't be fooled. And also don't take your own goals, doubling your business, right? Like that doesn't happen overnight. We need to understand what pieces we have to put in place, what you have to do next in order to reach those goals. One step at a time. Good things take time. Number 2, stop doing too much. You simply cannot wear all of the hats all of the time. Harsh reality, right? But if you're anything like me and 99% of entrepreneurs out there, like we all have this inner drive to make it perfect. Do it now and do it ourselves. This mindset is not going to help you succeed. So have patience with yourself, with the process, with the results. If you're ever complaining, internally or externally, or experiencing dissatisfaction about your progress, like the first question I want you to ask yourself is whether or not you're being patient with the process. One surefire way to fail or burn out is to move at someone else's pace and wonder why it's not working. Our journey will be as unique as our own fingerprint, okay? The makeup of which includes where we want to go, where we are, what we're selling, who we're serving, how fast we want to get there, and all of the sacrifices it will take to move however fast we choose to move. Do not pace yourself against anyone but yourself. Only compare your progress to where you were a week, a month, a year, or a decade ago. Number 3, huge, asking for help. I failed at 2 businesses. That's another video. I'll link it below. Because I was trying too hard to do everything myself or expecting myself to be the one with all the answers. The moment I actually broke through not just the financial wall, or like, let's be honest, it was at that point the dirt covering the coffin of my bankruptcy, right? Like, was when I took the leap and I actually started paying for real, qualified, very expensive help. And I stopped expecting myself or a minimum wage hire to be able to help me with my strategy and grow my business. Was it really incredibly uncomfortable to pay a large amount for high-end help? Oh, yeah, you bet. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done. I had night sweats for months on that first 5-figure bill. Was it also the one thing that changed my life and my business and my financial position? Yes, it was. Asking for help from someone who actually understands your goals and has achieved those same goals themselves is probably the biggest secret to success with any business, large or small. If you want to go in circles, go alone. If you want to go backwards, ask a friend or a novice, someone who doesn't understand your business and what you're doing. You'll end up working 3 times as much trying to get them to understand what you want them to do. If you want to go far, follow in the footsteps of someone who has already achieved the business or the life that you want. You're going to have to find a way to be okay with that fear and that discomfort of spending the money on the help you know you need before you feel like you can afford it. But it's always going to be far less expensive than trying to figure it out on your own and wasting years and thousands, or in my case, hundreds of thousands of dollars on things that don't work. It's a very different time in my life, right? I have a 7-figure business. Am I still nervous about hiring the right people and paying what I know I need for someone who's very high end to help me run my business? Yeah, I am. Even now, even at the business level that I'm at, hiring an expensive employee or a coach, it sends me into a bit of a psychological spiral. But I also have a lot of experience and proof that doing too much on my own or expecting someone who is an amateur in whatever skill set I need is going to be much more difficult and expensive in the long run. And in the past 5 years that I have committed to paying that high price for the right help when I know I need to, input that into my business, I have doubled my revenue year after year, every single year for 5 years. It is not a coincidence that investing in truly qualified help has given me the opportunity to drive that kind of growth. So sometimes you have to get super resourceful to be able to do this, but having help that gets you out of that cycle of stress and circular thinking and being unable to level up, it's worth the investment every time. Number 4, I don't compare myself to others. This is a pretty big one for most entrepreneurs. We see other people killing it. We think we need to do the same thing in the same way. My life and my business today is about 180 degrees different than what I used to think that it would look like. And I have frequent check ins with myself about how I feel in my business, my marriage, and my body, to be honest. If I'm stressed and things are like not feeling right, like I will feel it physically. The pressure to conform or perform always tends to push one or all of those things out of alignment. So don't compare yourself to others. It's not enough to say it. In today's environment, this needs to be a daily practice. Friendly reminder, okay? There is no such thing as behind when the game you're playing is against yourself. When you're overwhelmed or you're feeling like there's no space for you, like go look at your goals and your progress based only on where you've been and what you want your life to look like. What is your very next single thing that you need to do? Or can you take a rest? Okay? Get it done tomorrow. Don't worry about anything beyond that for the time being. Number 5, and probably most important, I never called it quits. The simple truth is no great success was ever achieved without failure. It may be one epic failure or a series of failures, but being able to fall down, get kicked around over and over, and learn from that, and then stand up and try again, that is the difference between a successful business owner and the ones that don't make it. So, really and truly, honestly, setbacks, struggles, learning from mistakes, those are fundamental to entrepreneurial success. They're not exceptions. Most new businesses do fail within the first 2 to 5 years, but persistent business owners use these failures as crucial lessons and temporary detours to build resilient, lasting businesses. As hard as it was, and as much as I hated it at the time, having 2 failed businesses under my belt is ultimately the biggest reason I am a 7-figure entrepreneur today. Overcoming hardship, it builds character and persistence, and it shows you what's important. That refusal to give up, it's a common trait among successful people, right? Like from Richard Branson to like Colonel Sanders, right? Like nobody has succeeded that hasn't failed at least a half a dozen times before. Or one of my favorite quotes, right? Like as Dennis Waitley said, failure is a delay, it's not a dead end. And if you can accept that, what it does is incredible. It helps you do some of the other things that you have to do to be a success in your business, like hiring the right help, focusing only on the next step in front of you, giving yourself space to be human, and being honest with yourself about how much you can do and how that fits into the rest of your life. I talk to business owners all the time who tell me that they can't fail, but then in the next breath, they say they can't invest in their business. There's no money. Well, you know what? One of those things is going to happen. That much I know for a fact because I have lived it. You can either fail or you can invest in your business. But when you fail, if you get back up, don't call it quits, and you use those lessons to help you with that, what you do next, and you'll ultimately go very far. Join me in Foot Traffic Framework if you want to learn more about how to create a successful business and learn from my mistakes so you don't have to make the same ones.